Well, good evening. I'm sitting in for Oilers Live tonight. He was wanting to be here tonight, but he's so depressed from the shutout, he decided he couldn't make it. So I'm streaming in his place. First game back after the All-Star break. Looked a little lackluster to me. Couldn't manufacture a goal in 60 minutes of hockey. Mike Smith's first game back in forever, and I thought there were signs where he was doing all right, and few signs of rust. Giving up the first one kind of on a breakaway, so I don't know if it would have mattered too much, but he kind of left a pretty big hole in the 5 hole there, and got beat. Don't totally fault him for everything on that, but not exactly what you want to see. Second goal, Tyson Barrie pounds a slap shot into Riley Smith's shin pads and doesn't get on his horse to get back, so it's a 2-on-0. Riley Smith over to William Karlsson, back of the net. Not much of a chance for Mike Smith to do much anything there. And you're down 2-0. Power play gets a few chances, can't convert on anything all night. Before you know it, it's 3-0. Have a decent showing to close out the second period, but can't get on the board. Start the third, 13 seconds in, I think it was, and it's 4-0, and that pretty much put any chances of a comeback to bed. And the way it was going tonight, not much was going to happen there. Vegas is a good team, no question, but we didn't manufacture much of anything offensively, and with the defensive gaffes, that was not going to be a good combination. Stuart Skinner likely to get the start tomorrow, and got to get a win against Chicago and get back in the win column and buckle down here. Can't get off this second half off to a bad start, or any playoff dreams I think will be squashed quite early. It's going to be quite the grind coming down the stretch, and to me, I think you need to climb the ladder and get into that playoff position early. You don't want to be trying to make a late run, because it is going to be a grueling grind down the stretch here. For whatever reason, my chat screens are still not working, so I'm seeing kind of James off of YouTube, off of my phone. So I'll probably flip from different social medias to kind of try to see what everybody's saying. This is being streamed on Facebook through the Heavy Hockey Network, on Twitter on Heavy Hockey, and my own Twitter at Mike Dursa, and at Oilers Live on Twitch, and on YouTube under the Heavy Hockey Network emblem. I don't want to talk a lot about tonight's game because I think it was fairly disappointing. It was a real rough night for Tyson Barrie, and that mistake on the power play just kind of was pretty deflating. I think you got a chance you weathered the storm early against Vegas because it came out kind of on a mission, and you weathered the storm early. You started to dictate the play and kind of take over and get some good shots, and then you go on the power play with a chance to take a lead. To get back in the game. I guess it was already 1-0. Then Barrie pounds that slap shot into the shin pads, and doesn't really get on his horse to keep it, just a one-man breakaway, lets it become a 2-on-0, and not very often a goalie's going to stop that. So 2-on-0 shorthanded is not what you're wanting for sure. First goal, Bouchard kind of pinched JP, took his point position, and then sort of abandoned that to try to keep the puck in when the play was on the left-hand side, and Bouchard couldn't recover in time. So it was a breakaway, and hole was found on Smith. 5-hole gets beat and trailing. I wasn't impressed really with anybody in particular in the forward groups. I thought Keith and CC had an all right game. They sort of did their job, but I think the main story tonight was Tyson Barrie had a really rough night. Smith was mediocre to average at best, and Laurent Brossoit walks out of Rogers Place with a shutout. Didn't think he really had to make a lot of big saves. I think really best chance Edmonton had was Evander Kane, but Kane kind of missed the net, so not much came of it. Chicago, tomorrow night. It's a game you gotta have. You can't let that one get away as well. So you gotta park tonight's game real quick and come back. Like I say, I think Stuart Skinner is gonna get the start, and hopefully he has a good game. I mean, he went down to Bakersfield and went on a tear there. So hopefully he can duplicate that kind of performance that he's been putting up down there tomorrow night. Back on the ice. And Rogers, I don't know, Zach Cassian, was on the second line. Didn't see much of anything out of him. One opportunity he did have, where Draisaitl probably should have shot the puck. He passed it to Cassian, and Cassian didn't do anything with it. Decision making, confidence, whatever, it's just not there, and honestly, it's kind of a bit of a liability out there on the ice. Things weren't going our way, so Tippett defaulted already to going back to McDavid and Draisaitl kind of on the top line to try to generate anything. Didn't really work. Doesn't seem like a lot of confidence when things aren't going well that they can figure it out, and so we just revert to what we've always done here, and the so-called depth with the acquisition of Evander Kane seemed to get abandoned tonight. Just wasn't really an impressive performance from a lot on the back end, and wasn't really very impressive performance by a lot up front. Can't keep building excuses like a little layoff here, and so it's going to take them some time to figure it out. Well, they don't really have a lot of time. They need to start playing really good hockey here to make the playoffs, or they will be on the outside looking in with a real steep it's going to get tougher to climb the ladder. Stretch of hockey, it's going to feel like almost every other night they're playing a game. This week it's the the Blackhawks tomorrow, and then Friday night the New York Islanders. Monday, San Jose Sharks. Tuesday, LA Kings. Thursday, Anaheim Ducks. Saturday, the Jets. Sunday, Minnesota Wild. So there's a lot of hockey coming up. This this next little bit, I mean, 3 of the next 4 against Western Conference teams, and after that, after they do Chicago and the Islanders, then it's 3 teams that are in within your division. So there's a chance to gain some ground and put up points and climb the ladder in the Pacific. But you kind of gotta have those games, because it gets tough. Like the Winnipeg Jets on the 19th, the Minnesota Wild on the 20th, and then there's an Eastern Conference trip with the Tampa Bay Lightning, Florida Panthers, Carolina Hurricanes, and then the Flyers. That's not an easy trip. I mean, Minnesota's playing really good hockey. Cam Talbot's kind of resurrected his career there in Minnesota, and back-to-back Cup champions in the Lightning, and the Panthers and Hurricanes are going to be right there, vying for a shot at the Eastern Conference Finals, if not the Stanley Cup. So it's Murderers Row coming up there. So gotta get after it here and be playing pretty good hockey. But by the time you go down there, otherwise you're in for some tough games. I mean, they're going to be tough no matter what, but if you don't find your game before you get down there, it could get late early, to quote Yogi Berra. Yeah. It's a bit hard to do these post-game shows with my restream chat not working. I got to figure that out. Don't know why it's giving me issues, but it is. I'm trying to flip between the different social medias. I'm seeing Bryce Workman. What a joke tonight. Vegas destroyed us. We should beat all of them. I don't know about the Wild, though. Yikes. Oh, my God. Hopefully we can pull off a few wins. Yeah. No, the schedule coming up is going to be tough. So before you go on that Eastern Conference swing, you need to pull together some wins and try to climb the ladder early here, because it just can become a daunting task if you're going down to Florida and Carolina and really looking up at the standings. I think you want to do your homework here before you head off on that trip for sure. Yeah, I don't really want to make excuses for this team, but tonight it just was not pretty. Vegas came out, swinging early. We survived that, and then put up some shots and looked like we were gonna try to make a game of it, and then defensive lapses and coverage issues. Got exposed, on the first goal. Second goal, Barry tries to rip a slap shot and, hammers it into the shin pads of the top guy. And if that wasn't bad enough, can't beat the trailing William Karlsson down the ice. He can't even maintain with him, so he turns a 1-on-0 breakaway situation into a 2-on-0, and yeah. I don't like any goalie's chances in that kind of scenario. And yeah, it just was not good. And I don't know. I think Barry's first game back after being out for a little while, on the power play, he was making good decisions. He was moving the puck around, and it resulted kind of in a goal. A little bit of a cheeky goal by McDavid in Washington, putting it off of goalie's back and in the net, but still, that doesn't happen if Barry pounds that, a rocket into somebody's slap shot or shin pads there too. So I like the decision making in Washington, and I thought that was effective. But tonight, I mean, just smashing it into the top guy's shin pads and letting him go and then letting the trailer go. It just, I don't know. You can't have that. That's not winning hockey. It's, yeah. And now it's like, your adjustments were made after the fact. Like Bouchard did get top line time after that, but damage was already done. And it's like you're catering to a guy that's basically your sixth defenseman now. From a 5-on-5 standpoint, like he's lowered into the lineup to the point where he's your 6D man. But to try to get him going, I guess, is the only thing I can think of, or maybe it's to showcase him. You give him that top line power play time. Now I think the good that he did has been erased by the bad, and I think you should run with Bouchard. Let him get that time now. But I don't know. Watching the way this coaching staff seems to work, it won't surprise me if next game Barry's back, running that top line power play again. We keep trying to force the issue. I mean, it's a kind of look at the way Barry gets treated out there, sort of the same way that Cassian gets treated for no reason. Cassian gets elevated to the second line, does nothing, and then kind of eventually gets sort of a demotion after doing nothing. But probably tomorrow night he's not pulled out of the lineup. And guys like Brendan Perlini come in and they contribute, put up numbers on the scoreboard, and then get ousted from the lineup for people that are really doing a lot of nothing. Same thing with Tyler Benson. I thought, before he was kind of a healthy scratch, he was playing the game kind of how you'd want a fourth line guy to play the game if they're not scoring. He's finishing every check, skating the whole shift until he's gassed, and then he gets off. But he's not extending his shifts. He wasn't taking dumb penalties, and he was playing physical. That's all you can ask, really, from a fourth line guy that's not getting a lot of time, and isn't really playing with too many sophisticated or really talented players. So you just bring a physical edge and a nastiness, and he was doing that, and I was content with that. Haven't seen a lot to cheer about from Warren Fogle the last while either. And I think his physical side to his game has kind of been fairly toned down. There's passengers, in the forward group, and some guys that really need to get going. I think if a few of them actually turn it up and get going, then we're going to have something here. But we've got a few too many guys that are slumping hard. I mean, Yamamoto had a good chance tonight as well, and just kind of buried into Brossoit's chest. Pugliarvi's been snaky bitten for a while. It's kind of it's good in a way and sad in a way that the guy that seems to be the most dangerous offensively lately is the newest guy on the team. Like I said earlier, Kane had a pretty good chance tonight, but he missed the net. But he hammered the puck and got a lot on it. Yeah, Quaddy on YouTube says, "Holy shit, this Cassian Coast said him. A lot of players give more effort, and this guy's floating around on the second line." Yeah, I mean, we all are waiting for Cassian to bring a physical edge and kind of a nastiness, but it doesn't seem like it's ever coming. And I would have thought that Kane might have inspired him to get going that way, but I'm not sure really much of anything will inspire him to play that way. I don't know what's going on with the guy, but It's just not there. I mean, part of it is I think he's lost a step and really can't get there. Can't get to the spots that he normally could in time. The hit's gone by the time he gets there. I don't know if it's an effort thing or just just doesn't have the foot speed to do it anymore. I I'm I don't know. I don't know. Bryce is asking me, you think we're going to make the playoffs? Well, I don't think every team's Vegas right now, and Vegas is going to change a little bit here. Like whenever they decide they're going to dress Eichel, they're going to have to do something cap wise to find $4 million and change to fit him into the lineup. So whether that means they're trading something for nothing or some sort of salary dump, something's got to give for them. But they're going to get marginally better. Yeah, I don't think every team in the Western Conference is the Vegas Golden Knights. So I don't put a lot into tonight's game, but I mean, seeing some of the mistakes that were made tonight, we sort of gift wrap that game for Vegas. If we do that to other teams, they'll beat us. They'll beat us also. So, and not being able to solve a backup goalie at least once is concerning for sure. Jason Strudwick wants to give the Oilers a bit of a excuse by saying he saw this coming because All-Star layoff and not everything was going to be crisp and all that, but they don't have a lot of time to figure it out. Like I say, a game tomorrow, game Friday. It really gets going here, so you can't take a lot of time to find your game again. You got to find it tomorrow. You got to get a win. You got to get back at it. You can't get into another long losing streak or your season's over. I think Ken Holland still needs to do what he's needed to do for 2 years, and that's find a goalie. Smith tonight, I mean, I think it's going to take him a few games to get back into form. You just don't sit that long and come out and be a Vezina caliber goalie or even above average goalie. It's just it's too much to ask, and for him to play 4 or 5 games, I'm beginning to wonder whether or not he can do that. It seemed like he sort of tweaked something tonight. Didn't come out, but he didn't come out, I don't think, that game either where he hurt his fingers or whatever. So I think the goaltending position is a tough one to play when you get up in years. I know Tom Brady just retires from the NFL, but Tom is a gargantuan quarterback, and he's always played under pretty good pass protection, and the league and the rules of the NFL sort of protected him to a point where he could have a long career. I don't think there's a lot of difference between his conditioning and his eating and Mike Smith's. I think Mike Smith takes care of himself, but being a goalie and being in front of 200-pound men that at times there's no sort of pass protection from the collisions and stuff that you face, and kind of the same movements that a goalie makes several times in a game, the side to side pushes and stuff like that, I think just causes wear and tear on your body. And it's different equipment. I think it's it's heavier equipment and more restrictive, and I think you just become susceptible to injury. And I think that was one of the things about Tom Brady that was worked in his favor, is he wasn't injury prone. He had a pretty healthy career for the most part, and as he got older, I think his decision making, you know, he would he wouldn't try to fight a hit. He would take the hit and go down with it. I think that's why, the sacks that he took elevated as his career kind of went on. But he didn't try to force it, and rolled with hits kind of, and um, yeah, I think Mike Smith is at a spot now where the injuries are taking a toll, and he's more susceptible to them, and as a goalie, I don't think there's really anywhere to hide on the ice. You're the last line of defense, and I just think it's taken a toll on him, and he might run through the rest of the season kind of unscathed, and for his sake, I hope that's the case, but to ask that again next year too is something that is pretty concerning for me. So I think you need to do whatever it takes to get a goalie. I mean, if the talk of the town with Colorado trying to get Marc-Andre Fleury is real, and they go after that hard, then I think that allows Ken Holland to get back on the Darcy Kemper train. Story is that he was basically had a handshake, like an agreement with Darcy Kemper and Arizona to make that deal, but when Seattle, before free agency started at the expansion draft, took Colorado's goalie, for them, then Colorado immediately at free agency upped the offer to Arizona for Kemper, and got Kemper, and Holland was left kind of holding the bag, and lost out there. So then he quickly circled back to Mike Smith. That's sort of what I've been told, but so maybe if Colorado goes and gets Fleury, then that opens the door to circle back to Darcy Kemper. Still got to do something to create the room to make it happen. So I think you talk to Mikko about the teams that he would accept a trade to, and you make something happen there, just to shed salary to make the room for Darcy Kemper. Those kind of things are less likely. Like, they don't happen as often in the NHL as kind of three-way deals sort of in the NBA, but if you want to really do something with this season, you got to get creative, and you have to do something there. And the other thing that really might want to be looked at is a way to kind of improve the defense corps. Anything you can do to strengthen the group, I think is better. And then things need to happen for next season. I mean, if there's a way you can get rid of Zach Cassian's contract and really Tyson Barrie's, you need to have some money here if you want to think about re-upping Evander Kane, but also Puliarvi and Yamamoto need contracts going into next year. So if you have any shot at doing any long-term work there, then you gotta shed some salary. So I'm Ken Holland definitely has some work to do, and I don't think we're totally out of the woods here. I mean, we had a nice little run to kind of get back into sort of contention before the All-Star break, but not out of the woods. I mean, you're not in a playoff spot, and you don't have any cushion. You're in a spot where you need to climb the ladder, and you need to not dig the hole really any deeper than you already have. Bryce and James and Kawadi on YouTube. I've seen your comments. I think YouTube really so far is the only place that's really dropped any comments, but I appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in. probably won't go for too much longer tonight. Not a lot really. I think that can be said about the game. I mean, there wasn't really anything offensively to really cheer about, and defensively, Tyson Berry had a real rough time. I didn't love the Bouchard pinch because it didn't really help with anything, and Puliarvi kind of dropped back to sort of cover for him, but then abandoned that and went to try to force the offensive zone time there too. And it would have been great if he would have picked off the pass, but he didn't, and Bouchard couldn't recover to the guy that JP left, and then he's off to the races and breakaway city and beats Smith 5-hole, and you're trailing. So it's just, Vegas and Colorado and Florida and Tampa Bay and, Carolina, those type of teams will burn you when you're making mistakes like that, and it happened tonight. And it's a tough hole to climb out of, and then you start taking more chances, and then you dig it deeper and deeper, and pretty soon you're in quicksand and you can't get out. And I think that was the tale of the tape tonight. Chicago tomorrow, if you take that team lightly, they'll beat you too. And Marc-Andre Fleury is a good enough goalie where he can steal a game on his own as well. And I'd be surprised if we see another backup tomorrow. So I'm thinking Fleury will be in net. You got to find a way to win that game and kind of get back on it. Anyways, guys, I appreciate you all tuning in, and believe Dash and myself will probably do a post-game show tomorrow night as well, and maybe Mr. Hebert will join us for that. So maybe tomorrow night will be Oilers Live. Tonight was Straight Off the Pipe covering for Oilers Live. Take care of yourselves out there. I know we're living through some stressful and difficult times, but things I believe are going to get better, and I think the Oilers will find a way to claw back to some respectability here and find their game and become that exciting team we've been waiting for and love to see. It's I don't know, it's not doomsday for me here tonight, but it wasn't exactly what I wanted to see for sure. Once again, thanks everybody for tuning in. If you want more content from Heavy Hockey, you can log on to heavyhockey.com, and you can check out everybody's podcasts are there, from Eric Friesen's Forever 99 podcast, Oilers Live's podcast, Dash and myself, Straight Off the Pipe, we're there. Tough Call podcast, Josh breaks down sketchy hits from behind and dangerous plays and other just kind of neat plays that he does quick videos on and breaks them down, discusses those. So that's all on there. And then there's articles on heavyhockey.com. I've written a few, Dash has written a few, Oilers Live, Eric Friesen, Spencer, Ryan Locksberg, Josh from Tough Call Pod. We've all written articles there on hockey, so if you want to read up on those, comment on there, and we try to answer back. Chirp us if you want, whatever you like. We appreciate all the feedback, and just happy to talk hockey with Oilers fans and really knowledgeable hockey fans from everywhere, around the world. Appreciate you guys tuning in tonight, and I'll shut her down by saying what I always say: keep your sticks on the ice, keep reaching for the stars. Go Oilers, go! Can't wait to see Rogers Place full in March. Have a good night. Take care. And we will probably see you tomorrow night after the game. Peace and love. Good night. Have a good night, everybody.